Welcome everyone. I'm just going to do a quick search here to make sure that we are live in the Facebook group, and just give it a few moments for people to hop on so that I will start this free training. So let me just do a quick check, and we are live. So let's wait for a few people to hop on here, and then we will get started. So for those of you who do not know me, I am Andy. Here, I will actually put on my video for you for a second. So I'm Andy here, and I am founder of 911 Lifestyles. So we're going to get going. We're going to be talking a lot about burnout and the physical signs that you guys can be dealing with during this long-term crisis. You guys, all of your jobs, you're built for crisis, but quite often they're really quick crisis. They're, you know, not like with this COVID, we don't actually know how long it's going to go. So we need to make sure that you guys have the strength and the ability to really stay on long term. So we have quite a few people on. So I'm going to get started. I'll shut off my video here. And if any of you have questions, just ask them in the Facebook group, and I will definitely answer them at the end of this training. Okay, so as I said, we are here to just make sure that your body stays strong during a crisis. So COVID is really, it's turned what is already a very stressful job for you guys and complex lives. Our lives as first responders, me being a spouse of a first responder with kids and everything, there's so many factors and dynamics that people don't understand. And the fact that everybody else right now is at home with their family, and we are all separated, there's so many more stresses that we are dealing with right now. So today, what we are going to just help you dig in is to figure out how to manage this. I kind of feel that through my entire life, my whole marriage, my husband has been on the road for 11 years. He was an officer before we got married. And then once kids came into the picture, that was just a whole other story. So we've really learned to adapt through that. And during that whole time, I have struggled with a stress condition and learning how to manage that. So we are going to really figure in today how to give you those tools that people aren't talking about because our neighbors don't get our life at all. So let's dig in. Oops, sorry. So the first thing that I want to go over with you guys is the WIN principle. So some of you may know this. You may know it a lot for crisis. I do know I actually learned this from somebody who's in fire. And if you're in a situation where like, let's say you are separated from your crew in a fire, and the thing is the first thing they do is they stop and take a deep breath. And then they assess their situation and figure out what is necessary or what is next. It depends on who's teaching you. There's many different versions of this. And so you always look around and think, hey, what is the biggest fire at this moment that I need to put out? And so when we're looking at COVID, it could be different things based on who we are. One of it could be your particular health. For some of you, you may have in your immediate family of who you're coming home to, you may have a child or a spouse that is immunocompromised and at higher risk. You may be having so many different things to be thinking about in this. So what it is best to do in any situation is to first look at what is the biggest thing right now and deal with it one by one. We do this when we're in a quick crisis situation, but when the crisis is gone long-term, such as COVID, we kind of go into a different type of a mode, and we don't keep repeating these skills. So these skills will be changing on a daily basis, because what is necessary the first week of COVID may be different from what is necessary the second week. So it's really important to keep reassessing the situation at home and at work. some things too, like I know for many of you as well, I know at ours, we have 5,000 sworn officers here in Toronto. And my husband's actually on the emergency management team. So as you can imagine, he's been quite busy. And one of the big things too is making sure that every single station has hand sanitizer. And it's gotten to the point where not every station is getting it because others are really stocking. The same thing that just happened with toilet paper everywhere is actually happening at the station. So their main depot that is delivering all of these to the stations doesn't even have enough because other people were stockpiling. So that is a situation where each station right now might go into this and think, what is necessary? Okay, we aren't getting enough of these hand sanitizers and all these cleaners. And I know some of them that are actually bringing it from home. They're going and they're getting their own supply for their personal self because that's what they can control. And so these are the things right now, is to figure out what is the most important priority for you and what can you do to control it? If you are focusing only on the things that are out of your control, like my station isn't getting them and you keep going to the main depot that's delivering them and they're low in supplies, that is out of your control when they're low in supplies, but you can control getting it for yourself. So thinking of things like this. And so another important part of this too, I know I'm in a group actually that is for spouses. And a lot of the problems and stuff with spouses is that we have no idea what's going on in your, like at your job as well. So quite often there's a disconnect and you guys are working so much, and quite often, understandably, you don't bring everything home. But with COVID, there's so much out there with social media and everything that is going on that our imaginations can run wild. So if we know what measures you're able to take on the job and what you're doing in order to keep things safe, also talking about routines, because everything is out right now. Your spouse may have you had it all sorted before, where your kids were in school or in daycares and your spouse was working and out, and you had it all organized, and everything is totally out in the air right now. And so it's really important to sit down with your spouse and really talk about everything. Talk about each of your concerns. Help each other brainstorm on how to fix it. Trying to figure out a routine at home for the kids. So what does it look like when you are on days off, if you're able to get days off? How can you be helping your spouse? What do meals look like now? I know for us, actually, normally meals for us are more takeout because we are so out of place. But now that I'm like here with the kids, I have to stop a lot more, that I've actually incorporated the kids in making meals. So we're actually eating at home more. But for some of you, it may mean that if you're taking that time to be prepping, it's taking time away from from your spouse's time in the office, that it may mean more takeout, more delivery of food, cleaning the house. What are your expectations of that? Because one of you may be feeling bad that you're not able to get to doing these errands or doing things. And if you actually just stop and talk about it together, if you really think about how can you, or what things are really important and priority right now. COVID-19, how is that stressing you guys out? What can you guys be doing to help it? I know there are some spouses that really would like their partner to be stripping at the front door, in the garage, and showering as soon as they get in without touching anything, out touching the kids and that. And others are more relaxed about it. So figure out where you guys are at. Everybody is different. Everybody has different comfort zones. Everybody is in different situations. So it depends on what your situation is at work. Really talk about everything. And when emails are sent to you about all of the different rule changes and regs. If you guys are not on priority calls anymore, or sorry, if you're only going to priority, if you're not going to non-priority calls, if a lot of people have left, if your building is locked, all of these things, when you get notification, it takes 2 seconds to fire that email off to your spouse, but it keeps them in a loop about what's going on. And communication is what is going to get everybody through this in one piece. I mean, my husband and I know I can say this to you guys, but my husband and I were talking and I asked him, I'm like, how much do you think domestics are going to rise? Because you have people in close quarters that are not communicating and they can't get out and they can't get to their stress relievers. So in order to keep that tension there, communicate on a daily basis with them. So social media here, you guys know this. There's so much fear-based out there information. But the other thing as well is that you have, every time that you're in front of blue lights, it actually signals dopamine to be released in your brain. And that is sending a signal into your body where you then need more dopamine and more dopamine. So you may have had this where you just are scrolling and you tell yourself, okay, one more post and I'm done, and you hop off, but you just keep scrolling and scrolling. It's because our brains keep needing that dopamine hit. So kind of think of it like a dog when they have a treat. You give that dog a treat, they see you going to that treat bowl and it stimulates that dopamine in their brain. They get so excited. And then if you keep going to that treat bowl, it just keeps the same thing over and over and over with that dog. And that is the same thing that blue lights do to us. And just for another thing, your sleep hormone, melatonin, it takes almost 2 hours after you have stopped looking at blue lights. So your screen, your tablet, laptops, all of that. Once you've stopped looking at blue lights, it takes 2 hours for your melatonin to only start kicking in. So you may be struggling with being tired and wired and not being able to sleep. And you may be struggling with all of that because the melatonin is not being able to be released because of social media. And then we also have the thing of our kids being home now. And honestly, there are times where I'd rather just be on my phone scrolling around or answering you guys or doing some work, but they need our attention too. So really setting down that phone and being with our kids and being present with them is so, so important. Okay. So let's get into some immune boosting vitamins. So there's 3 that I'm just going to give you right now. Sorry, they're not all vitamins, but they're immune boosting remedies. So vitamin C, this is one where, so actually I want to start off by saying that COVID, there isn't enough research out yet on COVID. So this information here is on viruses in general. It is good for SARS, and that COVID is a strain of the SARS virus, but we don't know enough about it yet to know what will stop it and everything. So that being said, vitamin C, as I said, my husband's emergency management, he just switched in a few months ago. So this is a great initiation for him. He's been on the road though for the last 11 years. And every year so they spend a lot of times in hospitals too, arresting people and having to sit there, or, you know, when there's been a shooting or stabbing, they have to sit outside the victim's room. So they're in hospitals a lot. And he used to get tons of colds and bring everything home. So between October and April, we always upped his vitamin C. So it's really important for you guys to, at this time too, because the virus is going up your vitamin C, it really does help boost that immune system. So echinacea and golden seal, they can go hand in hand. They're pretty cool. Golden seal, it actually helps with respiratory flus, colds, viruses. And the COVID goes into your respiratory system. So this is one that's good for strengthening and helping out. Echinacea is great for colds and flus, boosting that immune system. And when it is paired with golden seal, it boosts the respiratory function of it. So they are great for pairing. You can get them in pill or in drop form, in a liquid form. We got the liquid in our family because all of us take it. Since this COVID started, we've been taking it. For those of you that have been watching my videos for a while, you know that I had this cough I couldn't get rid of forever, and it's gone now from everything I've been doing. in order to boost our immune systems during this COVID. So something is working here. I will let you know that the liquids taste horrible. You need to just chug them quick in some water. The boys, we give them minimal dose because it's horrible tasting in tons of mango juice. So just follow the directions on the bottles for all of these things. Also, as with everything when it comes to vitamins and all of these, always consult with your pharmacist to make sure that these do not have any side effects or contraindications with any medications that you are currently on. Okay, sleep. So I'm going to give you some Band-Aid solutions right now for sleep. As you know, sleep is the biggest thing for us to be able to keep our systems strong. And if we're not sleeping, which I'm going to hedge bets that most of you did not have good solid sleep before this happened, which is interesting because I just did a coaching call in the 911 Elite Performance group today, and like they're having great sleeps and they're finding that with everything that's going on, they're able to pull out the tools from the toolbox and use them to help with everything that's happening. So let's just right now give you some Band-Aid solutions and see if they help. I want to give you guys a bit of a disclaimer before you do this to let you know that this will work for some of you. It will work amazing. And for some of you, it may not be enough depending on how burnt out your system is. Okay. But it's always worth a shot because you may be that percentage that this does work for. So magnesium before you sleep. Also watch magnesium as well. What magnesium does is it helps to release serotonin, which is great. That is what, that's kind of your happy hormone. And it also, when you have stress hormone and energy hormone, it's the same thing, cortisol floating around. It floats in the frontal part of your brain, the frontal lobe. Magnesium is amazing because what it does is it actually goes in and calms your frontal lobe. So if you're somebody who is tired and wired, can't fall asleep, you're just going around like not able to sleep, then magnesium 1 hour before you sleep may be a huge help for you. You may, as I said, need to be somebody that needs a little more extra support for your stress management system so that we can get it to where your cortisol, your sleeping and waking hormones actually start listening to these signs of the magnesium. But definitely give this a try. Check in definitely again if any prescriptions that you're taking, if there's any contraindications as well. Just check the dosage for your country. And then the other thing, waking mid-sleep. So waking mid-sleep is also due to another hormone. Our stress management system manages 50 different hormone responses. So when you are waking mid-sleep, quite often it is one of your hormones, your glucose hormone, is supposed to give you enough energy for 8 hours of sleep. But when you're flying through it all the time, when you're in high stress situations for years and your stress hormone is pushed out every time you have a stress, your body starts getting so mixed up on that hormone. So until you learn how to regulate it, a Band-Aid solution is if you're waking mid-sleep, you can either try before you go to sleep to have a high-fat, low-carb snack. Honestly, just Google high-fat, low-carb snacks and millions will pop up. But my biggest go-to, I used to have them when before my burnout was reversed. I used to have raw almonds in a container in my bedside table, so I didn't even have to get out of bed. But if you want to get fancier, like avocados and mangoes and fish and egg yolks, there's dark chocolate, there's all kinds of things that you can do. You can check for snack ideas and have that before bed. Now, if you're waking mid-sleep, then have it again. So you'll eventually get to the point, if you do start learning how to balance your hormones and get your whole stress system supported, that you won't need this, but you may find that there are the odd shifts where you do start waking mid-sleep. If you're in the middle of a crisis at work, if a huge project is happening, you may need to grab one of these snacks as well. So it's just a Band-Aid solution, but hopefully this will help some of you sleep a little bit better during COVID right now. All right, so with that, I think that goes into everything. If anybody has any questions, I'm just going to check and see if anybody did. Bridget, you're welcome. Hey, Andy from the UK, great to see you. And Jason too, we've got a bunch from the UK here right now. I know it's affecting everybody everywhere differently, so hopefully this has helped you guys. Again, if you have any questions, just post them in the comment here. I'll keep checking back. You can go into my my 911 Lifestyle website and you can see all my blogs. If you go in there, I do have some for eating on shift. I have some other things on sleep. You guys are already in the Facebook groups. That's amazing. And then on YouTube, I have a whole bunch of other videos. So if you guys want to go and see other videos and stuff to answer on stress, just go into my YouTube channel. Just search Andy Clark 911 Lifestyle and it should pop up. And that is everything. So there aren't any questions from any of you guys right now. Pop any questions that you do have and I will definitely get to them. So take care and stay healthy.